All right. Long-run effects of expansionary monetary policy using all four of our models that we have. So, money market, aggregate supply, aggregate demand, loanable funds, and Phillips curve. So, we have shown the short-run effects. We've already dealt with that. So now at this point, how is the economy going to correct itself is what we are dealing with. So we're going to start with our aggregate supply, aggregate demand model. So we know that because of this expansionary policy, output has indeed increased. When output increased, unemployment decreases. We see that over here, right? On our Phillips curve, it's showing us the same thing. We do know, however, that that can't last forever because wages are going to increase upwards in the long run when wages become sticky. And when that happens, when wages become flexible, when wages stop being sticky and become flexible, short-run aggregate supply curve is going to shift to the left. So we have SRAS 1, now we have SRAS 2, we have our new point of equilibrium here, E3. I've just created a wicked version of purple with my red marker, my blue marker. And so what we have here is showing us that in the long run, the only effective expansionary monetary policy according to this model is a higher price level. Output returns to normal. Now, let's see what happens over here on our Phillips curve. So on the Phillips curve, we're at point A. So we have our expansionary policy that caused us to have lower unemployment at the cost of higher inflation. What's going to happen eventually? We know that our inflationary expectations are going to adjust because we expect 0% inflation in SRPC 0, however there is actually 2%. So, as a result of that, in the long run, when our expectations, our inflationary expectations have had time to adjust, that is going to shift our curve to the right. And so we will now be over here at E2, bringing us back to where actual inflation is equal to expected inflation. So it shifts it up. So we are back to our original level of output, 6% unemployment. The only effect in the long run, increase in inflation. So far so good, they match up. Now what happens as a result of this? APL has gone up on this model. It's gone up on both of them for that matter. When the APL rises, what does that lead to? Well, it leads to a proportional increase. Let me get over here, spin around a little bit. Doing some ballet, some such nonsense. When aggregate price level increases, it leads to a proportional increase in money demanded. So money demanded shifts to the right. It doesn't just shift randomly to the right though, because that is a proportional increase. What it does do is it brings us back to our original interest rate. So at E3, we are at the same exact interest rate that we were at originally at E1. So in the long run, increase in money supply has no effect on the interest rate. Lastly, what happens over here to our loanable funds model? Well, when investments or when this happened and the price level went up, it caused us to have an increase in money demanded, raising the interest rate. Output decrease. Let me forget about that. Sorry, I got a little confused there for a second. Forget about APL, forget about money demanded. What's the key here is what happened between E2 and E3 when it comes to specifically to output. From E2 to E3, output decreased. When output decreased, remember that Y, it also means income. Okay? With income, there's only a few things we can do with it. It means taxes, which we don't care about, so cross that one out. The other two things we can do is to save and to consume. When our income decreases, we cannot save as much, nor can we consume as much. So savings decreases. We know that savers are represented by the supply of loanable funds, so the supply of loanable funds is simply going to shift back to the left, returning the interest rate back to its original equilibrium. All of which is to say, the only long-run result of expansionary monetary policy is an increase in the money supply. That is because money is neutral, monetary neutrality. In the long run, All these increases, they have no effect. The only effect is higher inflation, higher price level. They do not actually change anything in a real way about the economy. And that, my friends, the long run effects of expansionary monetary policy.